When processing personal data, organisations need a fair and lawful reason to do so. Most public sector organisations process personal data to meet a legal obligation, but if this is not the case, sometimes the consent of an individual has to be relied upon. You need to know when consent is an appropriate lawful basis. Otherwise, if we don't use it appropriately, you could damage your organisation's reputation, undergo enforcement action by the Information Commissioner's Office, or destroy trust with your families, limiting your ability for positive impact and potentially increasing risk for them. Consent is one of 6 lawful bases to process personal data under UK GDPR. It is all about asking for permission to use data. However, it isn't the only option for collecting or storing data, and it may not be the best option. We need to ensure we choose a lawful basis for collecting data that is the most appropriate and the most relevant. The UK GDPR sets a high standard for consent to process or share information. It says consent must be freely given, specific, informed, and an unambiguous indication of an individual's wishes with regard to the processing of their personal data. Consent to use an individual's personal data should only be sought if you can offer genuine choice and control over how their personal data is used. For example, if the personal information would still be used without their consent, asking for it is misleading and unfair. And where there is an element of compulsion or pressure, this would be unfair and unlawful. It is our duty as professionals to share information if we are concerned for the welfare of a child. Working Together to Safeguard Children 2018 tells us that the child-centred approach is fundamental to safeguarding. Our priority is a child's welfare, and if they are at risk of significant harm, we need to ensure that information is shared quickly so we can respond effectively. This often means that under GDPR, our lawful basis for sharing information is not consent, but rather is a legal obligation. This does not mean that we do not inform the parents or child. We know that for the most successful engagement and transformation with families, we need to be open and transparent. We need to communicate our concerns and how we are looking to work together to find them the best support. The only time we would expect not to inform the parents is when that would pose additional significant risk. A child-centred approach means keeping the child in focus, listening to them and taking their views very seriously when we're making decisions about their lives. We need to be working in partnership with them and their families. For further information around consent, please see the resources below. But remember, our priority is the welfare of every child.